Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers Kristy.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy podcast. Happy Hump Day! Today is Wednesday, the 28th of April, 2021. Good morning, Kristy. How are you today?
Good morning, Summers. I am well. I'm now fully vaccinated.
Does it feel good? Do you feel like you could just run around
I feel like a completely different person. No, I'm just kidding. It's sort of funny, this whole, the arbitrariness of the 14 days after, or the 2 weeks after, whatever. And I mean, I guess it makes sense. And I've been not fully vaccinated until today, but now I am. And I guess maybe it's this afternoon or tonight, because that's when I actually got my shot. It's later on today. But still, it feels good, and I'm just so heartened by the reductions in caseloads and deaths that we've observed in the United States over this last few weeks. And I'm hopeful that we can, as we speed vaccinations around the world, and hopefully we will get through this. I know we will, but and I feel heartened by some of the changes that I'm seeing in the United States. I do feel worried and sad because of what's going on in India right now and other parts of the world. And I just really look forward to a time when we can get through this as a planet and not have the horrors that I'm hearing about from the Indian subcontinent. And the lack, and it's just, I mean, the overwhelming numbers of new cases every day, and the overwhelming numbers of people who are having the serious effects, the lack of the oxygen, and all of the unfortunate loss of life. And I just am, I did live in India for a time. I have a lot of friends there, and it's really frightening and unfortunate. And hopefully different governments in the world can come together and help them get through that. Hopefully it doesn't take off in other parts of the world. And hopefully we can get the rest of America vaccinated and the rest of the world vaccinated quickly enough to prevent more unnecessary loss of life.
Exactly. And, at the Optimist Daily, as many of you know, we have a global team, and we try very hard not to just focus on U.S.-centric stories or the U.S.-centric experience. Our team, we actually have three of our writers all helmed from the Netherlands, and previously were in Costa Rica, and all over the globe. We've got a tech team who is in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and we recognize that this is a global pandemic, and I think that solutions need to be global. And our colleagues who are in the Netherlands actually are several months away from even getting their first vaccine. And we are so fortunate, and this is one of those moments of gratitude, that we live where we live, that has been given, this market capital opportunity to accelerate vaccinations. And I think if anyone's considering not getting a vaccination, just remember that there are people all over the world who would give anything to be able to be. So think about your role in the world. And with the Optimist Daily, that's kind of what we do with a lot of our stories as well. We have some global stories to talk about today. Kristy, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, why don't you do yours first? Because yours is a little more down to earth. So
I love your leading pun. It is indeed. All right. My headline reads, a coalition of conservationists purchase and protect the Belize Maya forest. Now, there is a 236,000-acre area of a tropical forest that spans Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and it was previously owned by a U.S. company called Forestland Group, who had permits for sustainable logging and really deforestation, right? That's what they were going to do with it. So these conservationists, who include Rainforest Trust, World Land Trust, University of Belize Environmental Research Institute, I mean, I could go on and on, right? Wildlife Conservation Society, etc. They got together and they purchased it from the Forestland Group. What they did by purchasing it is they took this invaluable piece of very intricate, complex rainforest that homes over 5 species of wildcats: jaguars, margay, ocelots, jaragundi, and pumas, spider monkeys, howl monkeys, and hundreds of bird species. And they allowed it to remain biodiverse. Basically, these conservationists have chosen to move it into an opportunity for local communities to reconnect with the land while providing opportunities to generate income. So they didn't just buy it to conserve it and leave it and ignore it. Instead, they said, all right, what can we do to reinfuse this space with income generating opportunities and relevant biodiversity for the communities that are already there? Agricultural livelihoods become more sustainable. There will be more climate smart agriculture, agroforestry systems, and it's not just going to be a big deforested area.
I really think this is important to emphasize, because conservationists of the past kind of had this really dichotomous view of, human versus nature.
Right.
And in reality, we've been a part of our natural world. We are one of the species that goes into this world, biodiversity of these forests. I was listening to some things about the highlands of New Guinea, which is also one of the most biodiverse rainforest areas. And I mean, there was so many people living in there in the 30s, when the first Europeans really penetrated the center of the islands there. But it's a part of the way these forests have developed is through like the agroforestry and the different uses that humans have been using and doing in the forest. It's like putting the wolves back into
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
It actually improves the balance in nature. And so humans are one of those balance. Now they have to stay in balance and not get out of hand and not clear cut the forests and burn and slash and burn, but doing more sustainable climate smart agriculture is super important for the health of these rainforests. So I like that that's how this coalition is approaching it. It's not to the exception of the humans, but rather to support them.
Exactly.
You're seeing this also like in the Amazon and the indigenous groups there who've been so threatened by the clear cutting and the ranching in Brazil and other parts of the Amazon. And it's a real tragedy and a real shame. So anyway.
Well, you know where this is also working? Coalitions of organizations, municipal, individual, fiscal, everyone getting together, neighborhoods, et cetera. You know where it's also working?
In space.
No. I mean, yes, but also before we go, space-wise,
where?
Right here in my neighborhood. The permit was pulled from the wastewater dumping. And the development is now being required to come up with a different strategy for gray water to be used, in fact, to water landscaping. Oh. So we are delighted that actually worked. And it wasn't just our neighborhood getting together. It was also the city. It was other developers. I mean, it was a lot of organizations coming together, just like the conglomerate of organizations that got together to save the Belize Maya forest. Now, Kristy, we'll just hop in our spaceship to your story. Okay, that was a terrible transition. I'm obviously fired.
Well, I'm glad that your backyard will be watered with recycled water.
Yes.
And not polluted into your local pond.
Into the streams.
But yes, talking about international and coalitions for doing interesting things that have a global impact. The story I wanted to highlight today, because I am pro-space. I'm pro-space exploration. And I'm
a big space girl.
I am. But the headline reads, astronauts arrive on the ISS on board a reused SpaceX capsule. And this happened on Saturday. So it's a few days ago, but it was a historic day for spaceflight, because the 4 astronauts, which are being dubbed Crew 2, arrived at the International Space Station successfully in a SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavour spacecraft, and making it the first time that a rocket booster has been reused for a space mission with a crew on board. This is just a new model for delivering humans and cargo into space and getting them on and off the space station, where you're using rockets, but they're reusable. And instead of having them just crash land into the oceans and ground, they are built with intelligent navigational abilities to come back into Earth's atmosphere and land and then get picked up and reused. But this crew, Crew 2, it's made up of 4 different astronauts from 3 different countries. They spent 24 hours soaring through orbit at more than 17,000 miles per hour to catch up to the ISS and get in alignment and then dock. And it was a successful docking. And I was watching that over the weekend, and it's really fun to be able to participate in that. And I think one of the things that I like about space is the aspirational nature of it. Mm-hmm. The idea that we can come together, and looking back at this whole Earth, and I think Earth Day kind of started from that. Edgar Mitchell, I think, was the one who talked about that space when you see and a lot of people in the older generation in the 70s, the first time that they saw the whole planet from space, makes you see that it really is one place. It's not all these different nations, all these different cities, all these different oceans and continents. It's actually one single globe, and we all live on it.
And we all live in it. We all have to protect it. We all have to protect one another. Unity and sort of a focus on global healing is something that we have to continue. And I know at the Optimist Daily, our mission is to help heal the planet and to help heal the consciousness and the collective consciousness of everyone here. We are all in this together, and together the solutions can come from us. There are a lot of other great solutions today.
Before you go, just finishing up on that. The main mission of Crew 2 will be to spend time researching vaccines and drugs and looking at how these tissue chips, they're researching small modules of human organs that contain multiple cells, and seeing how they behave in space. And the different environment will give them new insight into how they can treat other diseases on the terrestrial plane. So it is a way of coming together and thinking about how we can enhance life. And I love it. It's a beautiful story, and it's fun to watch. And definitely, there's something very centering about realizing that we are all on this planet together. So some other amazing stories on the Optimist Daily. Chloe Zhao is the first woman of color to win the Oscar for Best Director. There are 5 morning practices to boost happiness levels all day long. Honda unveils a plan to sell only electric vehicles by 2040. That's amazing. Adding special enzymes to compostable plastic may help it biodegrade faster. What else, Kristy? There's AI tech that can help save African elephants and hopefully smaller animals too. Another conservation notice. Newark Community Streets team is putting community at the heart of public safety. That's a new way of not policing, but keeping the public safe. Vertical farming is bringing locally grown produce to California's densest cities. And that is all the headlines that I've got to share with you this morning, this Wednesday. Go to theoptimistdaily.com, see more, read those articles, and explore other solutions. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. We promise that we will continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. If you have the means, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com, and for just $5 a month, support reader-funded independent journalism. That's how we pay our bills. Be part of the solution changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Thanks, everybody, for helping us keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.